I'm Brian Downs. This is Pro Sex Studio, and we're here to talk about Black Widow. This video is part of my ongoing series about how modern fiction, Hollywood, television is on a campaign to make you feel really bad about your genitals and what you do with them for fun. In thinking about this phenomenon, I've identified 12 anti-sex memes that repeat again and again and again in our movies and our television. In this series of videos, I'm taking on the MCU. And today, as I said, we're talking about Black Widow. Oh, Natalia, the things we do to our daughters. Black Widow's treatment is especially insidious because Black Widow is, of course, as most of the Marvel characters are, aimed at a young audience. Children start watching these characters at a very young age. And Black Widow was held up as a great example for girls, empowering women, and so on, mostly by enslaving them to shame, apparently. Black Widow is an imperfect example at best. She's presented as a sexy killer who is very attractive and desirable, but never has any sex. That can actually be proven in the text, as I'm going to keep repeating. It's important to be sexy, but it's also wrong. It makes you the gray area character. It makes you the person who has red in your ledger. So let's take a look at Widow's appearances in the various films. Widow first appears in the MCU in Iron Man 2. She gets a job at Stark Industries. She's working in the legal department. She's actually a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent at this time, and she's there to spy on what's going on at Stark Industries with Tony Stark with the Iron Man weapon. Tony Stark is instantly attracted to her. And this is a very interesting point. He's instantly attracted to her, and Pepper Potts, his life partner at that time, his co-worker, colleague, personal assistant, not his lover. Pepper Potts says, no, you can't be attracted to her. She works for the company. She's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Now let's talk about all of that, because there's a good deal to unpack there, as the kids say today. Tony is presented as being foolish for being attracted to Black Widow, who at that time he thinks is a woman who works in the legal department. This is meme number 3. Your problem is sex. Whenever a protagonist is presented as being interested in sex, or getting sex, or liking sex, or wanting sex, it's presented as a character flaw. It is what makes them foolish and ridiculous. What's ridiculous about Tony? He likes sex. He's attracted to Black Widow. But why wouldn't he be? Look at this woman who walks in. She's highly intelligent. She's working in the legal department. I don't believe the movie specifically says that she's a lawyer, but at least a paralegal or something like that. White-collar job in Stark Industries. She's the person they send when the papers need to be signed to transfer the control of the company to Pepper. Clearly a successful person, multilingual, extremely athletic. She proves that when she beats up on Happy, and looks a great deal like Scarlett Johansson in her mid-20s. Why wouldn't you be attracted to her? What's not to be attracted to? But Tony Stark is an idiot for being attracted to her. The truth, though, is that Widow is not just a woman from the legal department. She's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. She's a covert operative. She's a very formidable, subtle, and deceitful person. And she manipulates Tony. She gets close to him by using her beauty and her sexuality to do it. Tony very quickly wants her as his personal assistant and moves her into that position, which puts her in a great position to spy on Tony Stark. This is meme number 6. Heroines can pretend to sex. Heroines are allowed to use their beauty, their attractiveness, their sexuality to get things, to get jobs, money, to pull off the heist, to manipulate, to deceive, as long as they're doing it on the side of right, of course. That's fine. As long as we agree with their motives, they're a hero. What they are not actually allowed to do is have sex. Notice that Black Widow doesn't seduce Tony Stark, which she could easily have done. No, that's not permitted. She is permitted, however, to use her beauty to get this important position. Heroines can pretend to sex. But she does not seduce Tony Stark, nor does she have any sex life of her own in Iron Man 2. She does not mention any previous relationship. She does not mention being in a relationship. She doesn't indicate any desire to ever be in a relationship. She shows no desire for sex of any kind. And again, look at her. Beautiful, well-educated, successful, athletic. young, she could be in a relationship like that, right? Go into a Barnes & Noble and wait, and someone will start talking to you. But she doesn't. She won't. Why is this? This is meme number 4. Serious people don't sex. People with responsibilities, heroes of any kind, from superheroes right down to your small town dad, devoted family man, doesn't have a sex life because they're not allowed to. Serious people don't sex. And if you want to be a serious person, you don't sex either. 12 minutes into the Avengers, Black Widow appears on screen for the first time in this film. And this is the juicy bit. She's tied to a chair in an abandoned factory surrounded by NPC Russian gangsters. 3 of them. They are wearing suits. She is wearing a cocktail dress. She is sheen in sweat and looks terrific. This is clearly sublimated eroticism. This is BDSM in a PG-13 Disney film. But this is also meme number 2. Danger is sex. Dangerous scenes, dangerous situations are often presented as being sexy and exciting and erotic. And the other way around, sex is often presented as being dangerous. Joss Whedon, director and famous paladin for the anti-sex memes, one of the great enemies of public sexuality. If we would be living in a different pop cultural universe if Joss Whedon had gotten 1 blowjob in high school. Just 1. So Black Widow is tied up, and the crime lord scoffs the famous Black Widow, and she turns out to be simply another pretty face. Tight zoom in on Widow's face. Lip gloss, sweat, beautiful, gorgeous, artistically lit. She says, "You really think I'm pretty?" Of course they do. Everyone does. We do. Everyone on the planet does. Notice Scarlett Johansson is the actress in this role. Black Widow is the dangerous character, the femme fatale. Hey, look, Scarlet Witch is very beautiful. Pepper Potts, very attractive. Agent Hill, good-looking woman, absolutely. Black Widow looks down on all of them from up here for sheer va-va-boom. That's not an accident. Neither is that skin-tight one-piece unitard, by the way. So, the gangsters, who are NPCs and will never appear in the Marvel Universe again, continue to interrogate her, or they think they're interrogating her, but of course Widow has the upper hand, and one of the thugs grabs her by the head and forces her mouth open. He is standing, she is sitting. This obviously suggests oral sex and forced oral sex. This is BDSM eroticism that they're shoveling in here. But Widow is tied up. Widow is not participating in this sexuality, and it's sublimated, of course, but she's not a willing participant, she's their prisoner. Sexuality is presented here as being sinister and dangerous. Sex is danger. The crime lord picks up a gleaming steel tool in order to cut out her tongue, to teach her a lesson for being a spy. He's about to penetrate her mouth with his tool. But that's when he gets a phone call from Agent Coulson, who says, "Hey, I'm going to blow that building to smithereens with an airstrike if you don't do what I tell you to do." And what I'm telling you to do is put Widow on the phone. Coulson explains to Widow that he needs her to battle Loki and etc. Widow busts free from her restraints, beats up all 3 of these men, stomps their guts out. Notice, only Widow is ever menaced in this way. In all of the MCU, no other female character, no other male character, is ever menaced in this hyper-eroticized way. Only Widow. Only Widow is threatened with metaphorical rape, because she's the sexy one. But there is no sex, of course. Once Widow comes out of that chair, once she regains her own agency, then it's violence. Bam, 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 bam. So that scene is not only meme number 6, heroines can pretend to sex, she's pretending this erotic vulnerability in order to get the gangsters to talk. It's also a meme I like to call Sexy killers. Meme number 11. People in action films who kill and destroy a lot are often very, very attractive. But don't have sex, unless they're villains, of course. Widow is absurdly attractive. Does a lot of destruction, beats people up, kills, destroys, sets off bombs. That's fine. Her having a sex life, though, is off the table. So the next thing that happens is that Widow gets back on the phone with Coulson, who tells her that he needs her to go get Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk, and recruit him into the team. Widow is intimidated by this task. Even the formidable Widow is intimidated by this task because Banner is dangerous. Of course, Banner will be developed as her love interest later. Sex is danger. So now in Avengers, Black Widow goes to talk to Banner. Of course, S.H.I.E.L.D. has been tracking him. Banner thinks he's been hiding out in India, I believe. But Black Widow goes to talk him into joining the team because of the problem with the Tesseract. It's gone missing and Loki is on the move. The scene that follows between Widow and Banner is classic masculine feminine. She is beautiful, seductive, speaks in a low, soft voice. She looks at him, holds eye contact. "Come home with me," is what she's saying. Banner, of course, is a barely suppressed rage monster. He can become the Incredible Hulk in a moment. I'm not sure what Widow thinks that Glock is going to do, by the way. The scene is very erotically charged, though in a subliminal way, and this is partly meme number 4, serious people don't sex. We can't actually address sex directly. But she's a younger woman, beautiful, asking an older, highly intelligent, and very successful man for his help in a ingenue kind of way. But of course, if this goes wrong, the result will be catastrophic violence, a lot like an airstrike, because that's what the Hulk is. This is meme number 2, dangerous sex. It's also number 6, heroines can pretend to sex. She's not actually prepared at this time to have sex with Bruce Banner. She's not trying to do that. She's not trying to have a relationship with him. But she presents herself in a very seductive way in order to get him to join the Avengers Initiative. Notice that this scene is basically a rerun of the scene with the Russian gangsters. Somewhat amusingly, because the Russian gangsters are threatened with an airstrike, and it's an airstrike you would need to even annoy the Hulk. What she takes as her plan B for the Hulk is a tactical team who are utterly useless versus the Hulk. So that's kind of a strange choice, but beside the point. This is about Widow using her allure and her sexuality to get powerful men to do what she wants, while simultaneously not having any sex. Sex isn't on the menu in these situations. It's going to be violence if she can't talk them into it. Moving on in Avengers, it's 1 hour 32 minutes into the film when Widow is helping to rehabilitate Hawkeye. Hawkeye was captured by Loki and mind controlled and participated, really led the attack on the helicarrier. But now they have him back and they're fixing him. She hit him in the head, so that helped. This establishes that Widow and Hawkeye have a very, very intense and emotional bond. An emotionally intimate bond, unrivaled by really anyone else in the MCU up to this point. They know each other very well, they confide in one another, they spend time together alone, but they are not lovers. This, of course, is negative meme number 4, serious people don't sex. They have important responsibilities, therefore they don't have sex lives. Also, your friends are your family, and family doesn't sex. And let's talk a little more about that meme number 12, your friends are your family. This is very commonly repeated in popular culture, the idea that your intentional family, the friends you chose, not obviously your biological family, but the friends you chose are your family, and you can't have sex with your family. Don't have sex with your friends. The most important people in your life, the most enduring relationships you're going to have are going to be celibate ones, are going to be platonic ones. If you have sex with your friends, that will damage your friendship with them. This meme tends to turn up in television and in series format more often because that format presents it more easily. You have an ensemble cast, several people who know each other over a long period of time, and you can have lots of opportunities for people not to form sexual relationships with the people for whom they care the most. Lots of shows have done this. Buffy, Penny Dreadful, Friends, Sex and the City, take your pick. Of course, Black Widow is also in Age of Ultron, so let's examine what happens to her sexuality there. 48 minutes into the film, there is no Black Widow sexuality. I'm leaving out the idiot controversy about her pouring a drink at a party. Nobody cares about that. It's inconsequential. However, in the battle at the cargo ship, the arms dealer's ship, the Scarlet Witch puts Black Widow into terrifying and paralyzing hallucinations. I touched on this in the Captain America video as well. Widow's hallucination is a flashback to her training in Russia, and it's full of ballerinas. Gorgeous athletes, dancing girls. Sex is danger. That's meme number 2. The hallucination is, terrifying, disorienting, paralyzing, and full of beautiful girls. Sex is danger. 1 hour, 5 minutes into the film, we go to Hawkeye's farmhouse. Side note, notice that Hawkeye's relationship with his own wife has no eroticism in it, but we're tracking Widow here. Widow comes on to Banner. She makes it explicitly clear that she wants to be his lover. But when I say explicit, I mean ambiguously clear. She doesn't say, I want to be your lover. She doesn't say, let's be partners. She doesn't say, take your pants off. She uses ambiguous flirtations to try to get the idea across. Notice, they don't kiss. They don't embrace. They don't have sex. She doesn't kiss him before he says, no, we can't do this. There is no contact between them. There is no active sex or even foreplay between them. That doesn't happen. Instead, what happens, thank you, Joss Whedon, may he smile on us, is Banner immediately says to her, no, we can't do this because it's irresponsible and it's dangerous. Now, you're thinking, it is dangerous. He's also the Incredible Hulk. That's going to make domestic relationships difficult. You're right. But the writers chose that. Everything in this movie is a deliberate creative decision that was hashed out 100 times. Again, why isn't Widow dating Captain America? Because there would be no obstacle to that. Because it's not dangerous to date Captain America, so she can't. And the whole MCU doesn't even glance at that issue. They never have a conversation where they try it or they date for a while and decide it's not working for them. No, she wants to be involved with Banner, who is also the Incredible Hulk. So Banner tells her, no, that's bad and irresponsible. Which is, meme number 4, serious people don't sex. People who are thinking about their responsibilities can't have sex lives. This scene is heavily freighted with sex negativity. The ultimate result of this is that Banner will leave, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. He'll essentially leave the Avengers, and Black Widow will be left alone. And the movie emphasizes this. She has no lover, no partner, in spite of the fact of being highly educated, extremely athletic, extraordinarily beautiful, multilingual, famous, and accomplished in her field, in spite of the fact that if she just put up an OkCupid profile, her mailbox would be full 30 seconds later. She has no lover, no relationship. She can't. Serious people don't sex. Also, for her, it's a punishment for being so alluring. Being that sexy means you can't have sex. It's implied that she's had sex in the past. She never actually talks about that, specifically, of course. Can't be proven by the text, it's just implied. This is also the wanting disaster. Black Widow clearly wanted to have sex with Bruce Banner. What does she get? Heartbreak, abandonment. Wanting sex, trying to have sex, having sex leads to a bad result. Oh, and separates Bruce Banner from the Avengers. And then he has trouble being the Hulk and is full of doubt for several movies to come. Also, the wanting disaster. This is also negative meme number 3. Your problem is sex. What's wrong with Black Widow? What mistake did she make? She wanted sex. She wanted love and sex and companionship in her life, which is common to human beings, but you must be punished for it. It's a character flaw. This is also meme number 10. sexy celibates. The movies often present characters like Black Widow, who is extraordinarily alluring and enchanting, as being celibate, as being required to be celibate, as being doomed to celibacy by fate, or even enjoying celibacy. But she's also very good looking, very sexually attractive. Really good looking people don't have sex. Finally, it's in this scene that Widow admits that she is sterile. She was surgically sterilized during her training in Russia to become a covert agent, because her being a mother and having children to worry about would interfere with being a covert agent. Well, this is bullshit. In this same film, they grew Hawkeye a whole new side of ribs in what seems like a matter of hours with their advanced medical technology. But Black Widow's surgical sterilization can't be reversed. You're surrounded by super geniuses like Doctor Strange and Tony Stark, people who will be sorting out time travel in a couple of films, but they can't make you fertile again. I mean, we see bodies modified in all sorts of extraordinary and science fiction ways in these films, but your tubal ligation can't be reversed, not with these technologies. Suddenly we're in the 1920s again. But the fact that Widow is sterile is the final reason. You know, Banner says to her, "I can't have children." It's implied that being bombarded with gamma radiation made him sterile. Widow says, "Well, I can't have children either." So Widow has no reason to have sex. The idea that they would have sex for pleasure, for connection, for fulfillment, for companionship doesn't come into it. It's about babies. It's about Ward and June Cleaver. And Widow will never, ever have a lover again, or even mention wanting one. Not ever again in the MCU. She's done. 1 hour and 43 minutes into the film, it's the Battle of Sokovia. Ultron is trying to raise an entire city into the air in order to drop it on Earth like an asteroid strike. Banner is rescuing Widow, who had been taken captive by the forces of evil. It's implied that they're going to run away together, and the chaos is mounting, and Widow says to Banner, "You're not going to turn green." And Banner says, "I've got a compelling reason to keep my cool," meaning to escape with her. Widow says passionately, "I adore you," and kisses him on the mouth like lovers, and then pushes him into a hole. This was a ruse. It's heroines can pretend to sex, that negative meme. She did it in order to get the Hulk, so that the Hulk can fight Ultron. And as soon as she pushes him into the hole, she says, "But I need the other guy," which of course is kind of a winking subtextual reference to infidelity. Widow can't be trusted. Widow is the gray area character. Widow just used a ruse on Banner, her own sexuality. Widow uses her sexuality, her alluringness, his desire for her, to trick him into doing what she wants. Heroines can pretend to sex. When heroines do it, it's fine, because it's for the greater good. When villains do it, it's just because they're sick in the head. Oh, it's also the wanting disaster, of course. Banner expressed his desire, his interest in Widow. Let's go away together and be lovers and have a sexual relationship, and Widow betrays him. And at the end of the Battle of Sokovia, after Ultron has been defeated and the world saved, Widow is communicating with the Hulk, who is in a spaceship, saying, "Okay, turn that spaceship around, come on back here with me." And the Hulk screws off into space. Go on, rather be in space at random, flying off into nowhere, than to be with Black Widow. And she is left alone. This is the wanting disaster. This is serious people don't sex. Bruce Banner / the Hulk says. Number 4. Serious people don't sex. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching this first video about how Black Widow is a character designed to make your daughters feel terrible about their vaginas. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I off base? Is Black Widow really a good example to set before our kids? That's what the comments section is for you to fight it out amongst yourselves. If you find this interesting, stay tuned for the next video about Black Widow, which will be coming shortly.